What's up, everybody? Welcome to Full Spectrum Universe. Tonight is a special evening. Tonight is our first episode on the Global Enlightenment Radio Network. A little bit after we do a little bit of the intro, we're going to actually pull up the website so everybody can see it. It's a great, great family. Also, want to say a quick congratulations to Melinda Williams, who is now also a part of the family. Congratulations, you've earned it. You're great at your craft. You are amazing at what you do. So tonight we're actually going to get into an episode that's going to be really wild. It's going to leave you with a lot more questions than answers, but it has to be tackled. Us being researchers, we like to go into things. So tonight we're going to be talking about dreams. I hope you're ready for this. Let's go to the intro. Seems to be a technical difficulty with the intro. Anyway, we'll do it on another show, I guess. It's not bad. Of course, first episode live on a new network. Of course, there would be some intro issues, right? So tonight we're going to go about dreams. We're going to talk about a lot of things. Okay, we're going to get real crazy. We're going to get real enlightened about it. We're going to go over what dreams are, what dreams have been throughout history, and what dreams are as of today with science and things like that. So the first thing I want to go over is actually the definition of dreams. And the definition of dream is a succession of images, ideas, emotions, or sensations that usually occur involuntary in the mind during certain stages of sleep. Now we know that you can dream throughout all stages of sleep, but it's a little bit different. We're talking about dreams that are real lucid in a sense, and we'll go into what a lucid dream is, or a nightmare, a deja vu. There's so many aspects of what this actually is. And the funny thing about it is that nobody can really put their finger on what they mean. So that's going to be the other side of it. There's a lot of science involved. Of course, everybody wants to go science route. But what's crazy is that nobody really knows what these dreams, like, let's say you see something and it's just to go about it, when you're looking at what those dreams mean. There's people in dreams, there's places in dreams, there's events that happen in dreams, and nobody really knows what those mean. They've perceived what they mean throughout history, but nobody can really sit back and definitively say this is what it is. This is what it is. So I went through a couple of different things about it, and I have a lot of notes. We're going to do a lot of reading off notes today because there's just too much information for anybody to just sit back and absorb and remember it all. Unless you're actually a scientist who delves in the policies of dreams, that's the only way you're really going to know it. So the content and purpose of dreams is not fully understood, although that has been a topic through scientific, philosophical, and religious interests throughout recorded history. And we're going to start right at the beginning, all the way back to ancient Sumeria. So knowing that, everything is going to be, it's going to get wild. So you just got to bear with it, go with everything, and we're gonna put things into perspective for you. So dream interpretation is the attempt at drawing meaning from dreams and searching for an underlying message. And the scientific studies of dreams is called oneirology. Okay, oneirology. It's pretty in depth. That's getting down to the science of it. Dreams mainly occur in the rapid eye movement stage of sleep. And what that is when you see people and they're actually dreaming and they're dreaming heavy, their eyes flutter. You'll see their eyes move just like that. And it means that they're actually going through a dream. Or let's say you have a dog, right? Everybody's seen their dog sit down, lay down, go to sleep, and he starts running in the middle of his dream. His legs start going. Dogs and animals go through this rapid eye movement sleep as well. So it's not just prone to humans or a humanoid nature. It's literally in almost all animals that have that aspect. Some, of course, some insects. I don't know if they dream. We're not sure, but a little same. Gorillas, monkeys, dogs, cats. They all go into this dream. And one of the things that you want to think about while you're thinking about this is, are dreams really some people say that those types of animals have souls. So are dreams really the perception of your soul, let's say imprinting through memories or a continuation of reality? Is the soul what gives you that dream? Because a lot of the things that dreams are based off of is emotion. So they say it takes a certain type of creature to have specific emotions. So of course, we know dogs get angry, cats get angry. They all have emotions. Tigers get angry. A lot of different things have emotions. So dreams can be based. They can be based on a lot of emotion. So emotion is a huge factor when you're talking about dreams, because good emotions, bad emotions, or emotions, good emotions, bad emotions. Really, what it comes down to is that's what's going to perceive what your dream is going to be when you fall asleep. When you have when you have all these different emotions coming to the forefront, it's going to interpret where you go via your dreams. It's going to be a continuation of that. So there's so much that goes with it. It's such a deep, deep, deep subject. So like I said, you're more likely to have it in the rapid eye movement dreams. And then in other stages, you can have them as well. But during the rapid eye movement stage, they're more vivid. They're more likely to be recognized and or perceived as something than just like a quick thought or something like that. So, the thing is too is that you can start with a dream and it can be 30 seconds, lucid, vivid, whatever the case. But it can also run up to 30 minutes. So you're at time's mercy. Well, we'll get to time later and how time is, it's all relative. It's kind of fluid, but you know, it can be up to 30 minutes. So you could be in the worst dream ever and not get out of it for 30 minutes. You could be in the best dream ever and you only get it for 30 seconds. So it's a give and take. It's very, very, you're very susceptible to get vivid dreams during, like I said, that rapid eye movement. Ones that you might remember or you might feel some type of way about. So, people usually have 3 to 5 dreams a night. Maybe not the dreams of the rapid eye movement dreams, but 3 to 5 total. Some people have up to 7 dreams. Now, I know what you're all thinking too is, sometimes you remember dreams, sometimes you don't. You'll wake up and you'll say, I don't remember anything from last night. And then there's sometimes you wake up and you're like, holy cow. I swear I could remember every specific detail of that dream. It felt real. Those dreams felt real. Well, we're going to get into what that is. And there's a lot that goes with that too. But, like I said, again, your emotions play a crazy, crazy big key of what does that, and there's a lot to go into. So we're going to go into a little bit of it, but we're going to start with history. Oh, one more thing. Another thing I wanted to say is if there's anybody who wants to join this conversation, we're going to do it this way right now, okay? We're going to make this an open conversation. So if there's somebody out there who feels strongly about this subject and they really want to come on and they really want to talk about it, I'm more than happy to you. Send me a message on Facebook and what I will do is I will give you the link to get into studio and we can go all in. We could talk about everything. I've got a lot to go through here, but I know this is for everybody. This is a subject that everybody can literally have some input on. So we're going to go through some history of dreams, right? Opinions about the meaning of dreams have varied and shifted through cultures. Okay? There's different aspects of time, religion. There's certain philosophical differences between what people thought dreams were, and we're going to go into quite a bit of it. Now, the place I started with this was basically the beginning of written history. Dreams have been dialogued or put into some kind of file to be stored away, or at least put in writing. Okay, it's been put in writing since the beginning of written history, or the beginning of what we consider mainstream considers time. Okay, we could get into the differences whether you believe that there were civilizations before the civilization. What I'm just focusing on at this juncture of the episode is basically the beginning of time that we know of recorded history. So just let's keep that in mind. So the ancient Sumerians in Mesopotamia, they have left evidence of dreams interpretations dating back to at least 3100 BC. Now, if you're like myself, you know, we all know that human history definitely predates 3100 BC. And it's funny too because a lot of mainstream media outlets that when they talk about history, they say, "Oh, it goes back 12,000 years." Blah blah blah. That's a false. That's a false because they found actual pottery, they found cave paintings, they found a bunch of different things that date back well before 12,000 years. Whether they want to admit that, that's a different story. Different story altogether. So, throughout Mesopotamian history, dreams were always held to be extremely important for the divination. Okay, divination is the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by supernatural means. Okay, just so we get an understanding of what that is. Like oracles, prophets, and the Mesopotamian kings paid close attention to this. Now, when we get into the Greeks and what they actually did, it's gonna get a little bit different because as time goes on, you see that dreams or prophets, shall we say, they can make or break regimes. Okay, they can make or break empires. So some people think that dreams are important. Some people don't think that they are very important. Throughout history, they were deemed super, super important. Okay, super important. A lot of people took it religious, like as their part of their religion. So it's crazy. But just to give you an example of what that is, at Gueda, the king, a guy named Gueda, the king of the Sumerian city-state of Lagash, and this is he reigned from 2144 BC to 2124 BC. Rebuilt the temple of Nigarishu as the result of a dream in which he was told to. His idea was his gods came down and they told him to build a temple. Now, maybe the pyramids were built like that. Some of the greatest wonders of what we see now of specific locations, temples, cities, uh, just religious prophecies or things like that. That dreams had a phenomenal impact, a very profound impact on these things. So it's it's even you can even hear about dreams in literature and some of the oldest stories that we have. It played a major role in those too, like the standard Akkadian Epic of Gilgamesh. We all know what the Epic of Gilgamesh is. It plays a huge role in ancient astronaut theories. Uh, Basically, the way that history unfolded itself at that time, and on numerous accounts of the prophetic power of his dreams, Gilgamesh and his dreams told him to encounter a giant. Okay, which his name was Humbaba, and Humbaba was a big giant that Gilgamesh actually fought and killed, kind of like a David and Goliath. Which actually this story could coincide with a David and Goliath if you're looking at the religious texts of the Bible. This also brought him in contact with the gods Anu and Lil and Shamesh, who condemned him to death, and it also helped him visit the underworld. Okay, now this is another aspect of dreams that we're gonna go over more later, and what it is that they say you can visit different realms, different places in your dreams, which goes along with a lot of things that nowadays that are astral projection, cognitive ability to see other things or other places, piercing veils, being able to see different entities, whether they be a ghost or possibly an interdimensional being. Some people actually have that happen during their dreams. So there's a lot that, like I said, dreams is huge. The subject of dreams goes beyond anything you can fathom. And like I said too, there's no answers. This is only questions that we have that literally we're going to have more questions by the time we finish. And when I get into the part where I start really pontificating of what I think dreams are, it's going to get a little bit more crazy, and it's just a wild subject. And you know what? It's funny too because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? It's my first episode on a brand new network. I got to come out of the box swinging. Okay. Just like I was talking about on the show we did last night on the Global Enlightenment Radio Network. I was like, oh man, we were talking about, we brought up dreams a little bit and we talked about it, and we had so many different ideologies there that we could discuss this specific subject from so many points of view. Okay. We had a shaman, we had a reverend, we had two other people besides myself that just have a ton of knowledge on what uh, the metaphysics and things like that. So we looked at it from a total bunch of different, like a lot of different directions. And to me, it was one of the most fascinating conversations we've had. And I actually put it up on Full Spectrum University on the group page, but I also put it on my Facebook page because these types of lectures or conversations need to be had, and people need to open their eyes into what's really out there because there's so much out there that we can't explain. So, with that being said, you can see that dreams during this time period were also seen as means of seeing into other worlds. Like I said, underworlds, future realms. And now the thing about going into different worlds too is like, it gets wild. It gets wild because, like I said, I'm going to go into it more further. But you could essentially run the gambit of time through your dreams. You can dream of the future. You can dream of the past. And what's to say that your consciousness isn't actually teleporting to that place? Because, like I said, we'll break it down later. I'm going to get too far right now. We're just going to go into a conversation and get right off topic. I want to give you all the facts that I know first and the information so we can go about that intelligently later and speak about it. So, in ancient Egypt, as far back as 2000 BC, the ancient Egyptians wrote down their dreams on papyrus. People with vivid and significant dreams were thought to be blessed or were considered special, which has happened also throughout history. People who have this prophetic ability to understand their dreams or to capture the motives of their dreams are thought to be held in a higher regard. I'm going to keep saying this all night. Dreams have made and broken regimes. They've made or broken villages. They've made or broken religions. So dreams are super, super important, okay? They also thought dreams were like oracles, bringing messages from the gods. They also thought this to be the best way to get divine revelations. So what they would do, and this, you're going to hear about this a lot in history too, is they would induce dreams by laying on special beds called dream beds in hopes of receiving the gods' messages, right? So they believed in a multi-pantheon of gods. So their specific gods they would pray to, lay down in a bed, and they would focus a lot of their energy on these gods in hopes that these gods would send them a message, send them a sign, send them something that they could use. And they believed that they were contacted by their gods. So, I mean, we can't say that they weren't because, first off, we weren't there. Many of us weren't there. Some of us have in past life regressions. They can know that they were an ancient Egyptian, but, most of us have to take their word for it. So, at that time, does it mean that there was multi gods sending messages, or we don't really know what it is, but these people believe that they got messages. So personally, I believe that that's what it was. And it's wild to think that they actually had these messages that they could go back to their society and tell them, look, Osiris just messaged me. There's a flood coming, and then they would prepare for a flood. And it's funny too because in a lot of these ancient texts and these ancient writings, you hear that something like that happened. You would hear, "Oh, there's a great flood coming. Something's coming." The invading army of somebody was on its way, and then they would do battle. So wars have been fought over dreams too. Conquest was huge in ancient times, huge with the Romans, the Greeks. Conquest was a big deal. So did they? A lot of them say that they had visions of taking over the world, and I'm gonna actually get into a separate subject here. And it's funny because meditation and states of meditation, raising your vibrations can lead to dreams too. I didn't go this far into the future because I felt like only stepping on like the ancient people would have been beneficial for this lecture. But there's this moment, okay? George Washington, before America was, it was in the Revolution. We were being taxed by England. We wanted our independence. We had already set up the Declaration of Independence. The Constitution was on its way. George Washington was an amazing tacticianer. He was a general in the English Army and the British Army, but he was also now the head general of the Continental Congress Army, which was what the governments that were set up before we actually had the actual government. They were the ones that were vying for our independence. And he came to a crossroads, okay? And some say that this specific incident is alien intervention. They don't know. But this man had what came to a crossroads, and he was looking left or right. So he closed his eyes and decided to go left. Left took him into the woods. When he got into the woods, he sat by a tree, closed his eyes, and was imagining the war that was going to come or the battle that was coming up. And what he saw was a topographical map of the United States. Okay. Now, at this time, maps of the United States, we haven't gone all the way west yet. So people don't know what that all looks like. No topographer can sit there and say, this is what it is. There's rivers here, there's rivers there. Nobody knew. Okay. So, with that being said, he sees the United States and he sees raindrops fall on this map. And every time a raindrop fell, it became his city. Okay? New York City, Chicago, Tallahassee, Florida, Washington State. He saw Los Angeles. And he writes about this in his journal. So some people say it was an alien interaction giving him knowledge of the future. Some people say that it was divine intervention by God. And some people sit back and say he was dreaming. But at that moment, he was actually dreaming of the future. So you can see your consciousness can transcend time in these dreams. Just a thought. That was an extra story. I was off the top of the head. I hope it makes sense. I hope it makes sense. So now we get back to history. Now we're going into ancient China. Okay, we're gonna different points on the globe we're gonna touch on. Okay, so Mesopotamia we know is closer to the Middle East, but in China, the Chinese history, people wrote of two vital aspects of the soul. One is which was freed from your body during slumber to journey into a realm, while the other remained in your body. So it's basically saying that your soul split into two. Okay? It split into two, and what it did was one side went to the dream world, and one side stayed grounded in I guess reality we could call it, or in the physical now. So this is going to go into Hinduism too, because Hinduism is very much like this. But we're going to touch on that a little bit later when we get to the religion side of it. But this is a crazy aspect, because if you're somebody who astral projects, you know that there is a moment when you're in your meditation, and what you do is you imagine tree roots grabbing the bottom half of your body, because when your soul mitigates from your body and raises up so you can go somewhere, you have to keep a portion of yourself grounded. Okay, you have to be grounded, otherwise you won't make it back to your body and you'll be lost. You'll be lost out there somewhere. So with that being said, it's wild. You know, it's a wild thing that would be what that means. And for me, it's I just think that's pretty crazy, because as you get into some spiritual aspects now, they are actually taken from those specific ideologies from these ancient philosophies, you know. So as we go forward, a Chinese philosopher by the name of Wang Chang from 27 AD to 97 AD followed a text called the Upanishads, written between 900 BC and 500 BC. That emphasis of the two meanings of dreams The first says that there's two emphasis on the meaning of dreams. The first says that the dreams are merely of an expression of your inner desires. Okay, and the second says that the second is the belief that the soul is leaving the body, being guided until awakened, which is what astral projection perceives to be. But that's the other thing is that here comes the emotion again. Okay, just to go further into it, the emotion in your body is creating a desire. That desire is being manifested in your brain, and it's funny too because there's a lot of while you're sleeping, there's a lot of things around you that are actually interacting with you, but you don't know it. Everything vibrates at a frequency, whether it be your computer, whether it be yourself, whether it be your coffee pot, whether it be your dog, whether it be your turtle, whether it be your fish. Everything vibrates at a different frequency. So one thing that people who deeply meditate, what they try and do is they try and vibrate at the same vibration as the things around them. Or if you're outside, the earth vibrates itself. They try and bring their vibrations in harmony with each other. My friend Omar was just telling me about how he went camping, and he was beating a drum for a specific frequency so he could raise his vibration to the vibration of the woods around him, and cleanse himself of society and all the norms of society, and relinquishing some of the dark energies that reside inside of him. So your inner desires, and that to him was cleansing. So your inner desires and your emotion has a lot to do with it. But there's other aspects, there's other things that are interfering with this matrix in your brain, which your brain is a matrix, just like we live in a matrix, and we'll go into that too. you know and it even says it here that there's an illusion inside of an illusion inside of an illusion. What's real, what's not? Some dreams feel so real, and that comes into the realm of deja vu, where you feel that you've experienced things three, four times, five times. You dreamed about it, the next day it happens. There's people who get that often. They get that often. I personally am one of those people. I personally am one of those people. I can fall asleep, dream, something happens, and I feel it, to even down to the tensions in the room, and then days later it happens, and you get this feeling where you almost lose yourself for a minute. But when we get to deja vu, I'll go into a couple of instances where I've had deja vu. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. So now we're going to be going to the Greeks. Okay, the Greeks shared the belief of dreams with the Egyptians on how to interpret good and bad dreams, and the idea of incubating dreams and gods visiting them as prophets in their dreams. Okay, now also with the Greeks, there was something a little bit different. Okay, but we'll start here. So, also to show the prophetic belief in dreams by the Greeks, look no further than the Oracle of Delphi. Okay, this is a woman that Greek politicians went to, regular men went to, and they wanted answers for everyday questions. They wanted to know the future. They wanted to know the past. They wanted to know why something was something. They just wanted to know. And it's amazing. But so the most well-known of these oracles was a priestess of Apollo named Pytha. Okay, and Pytha, well, just so you know, if nobody knows who Apollo is, before we go into Pytha, Apollo was a god of many things, but one of the gods that he was of is a messenger. He was the messenger of the gods. If Zeus had something that he wanted to tell you, it would come via Apollo. So Apollo was the god of messages. This woman caused death, war, and entire regimes to topple, showing you the importance of dreams throughout history. And the crazy part about this whole Oracle of Delphi is they found where the Oracle of Delphi was. Eventually, what they did is they brought today's technology into that temple, which is the Temple of Apollo. Okay? They found out that this is literally residing under a volcanic cavern, and noxious gases were being flooded into the chamber of this specific oracle. and they believed that it had been for centuries. So now she was having hallucinations from this noxious gas. It was almost killing her. And in these prophetic type of, she used to pass out and ramble, just ramble about things. And they would write it down really quick and say, oh, she's coming up with another prophecy. We got to get it. We got to get it. Not knowing that this woman was high as a kite, not realizing what she was even saying. And politicians followed the lead of what she was saying. And this is crazy. This is crazy because this is an incoherent babbling, and they were trying to decipher what she was saying. But there was an added factor. When I tell you that dreams happen and there's things around you that culminate in that dream being what that dream is, look no further than the Oracle of Delphi. There was a noxious gas being flooded into this chamber, and this woman was having hallucinations, and they were taking it as prophecy. Think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. The fact that we're even here right now, after something like that happened, it's wild. It's wild. You're literally listening to a female who's out of her mind, almost dying from inhaling fumes, noxious methane fumes, fumes that you can't last without a gas mask next to a volcano for 5-10 minutes. They had priestesses of Apollo in there for 400 years, 300 years. How many women went through this? We don't know. We don't know. So now we're going to go to the religious side of these views. So, with that being said, first we're going to concentrate on the Abrahamic religions, okay, which is Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So ancient Hebrews connected their dreams heavily with their religion in a sense of their faith, okay? They believed that dreams were the voice of God and God alone. This is essentially the same type of thing, but a little different in the sense that they were looking at these dreams and saying, okay, that's God's doing. God is giving me this vision to further prolong this specific religion. So, to get back to it, they differentiated between good and bad dreams. The good dreams were God, bad dreams were evil spirits. This is where you find the first split in what a dream is, whether it's good or bad. Of course, people have always had good or bad dreams, but they just took it as their God or a God was giving them that specific dream. Here is where you get the division of good and bad, okay? Wrong and right, good and evil, okay? Evil spirits, God. Nothing in between, one or the other. Radicality it's radical on either side. So of course it would be evil spirits if it was bad, not maybe your God showing you that you messed up and you did something wrong and now he's coming for you. Nope, no. Evil spirits. Do I agree with that? I don't know. But they also incubated their dreams. They were lying in temples to receive messages from God. Most of the dreams that you hear that are recorded from the Judeo faith is in the book of Genesis. So if you're into the Bible, the one place you would see most dreams recorded is in the book of Genesis, just to let you know. So now we go to Christianity, okay? Christianity believed the same as Judaism, as they used the Old Testament from the Judaism, from the Torah is the Old Testament. Now the Christians, they had the New Testament, but they also had the Old Testament, and they also had the New Testament and the Old Testament. So what they did was they basically took the same type of scripture from the Old Testament, put it with the New Testament. There you have the Christianity, the Christian Bible. So they're very much along the same lines with thinking the same thing, whether it was good, whether it was bad, good and evil, God or evil spirits. So a lot of their inspirational stories. But the thing about the Christians is when they go into prophetic dreaming again, you can find that in the book of Revelation. So what's crazy is that the Jewish faith basically started in the beginning of their book with these prophetic type of experiences, but the Christians, they went all the way to the end, and this is an end that hasn't even happened yet in their eyes. This book of Revelation is the book that we're all doomed to live sometime in the future. Whether it's the near future or the far future, that's for you. That's not for me. Maybe if we get the Rev here, he could tell us a little bit more about it. But anyway, so basically it's it's the extremes again and how we do this, right? So as we go further, now we're going to go to Islam. And every time I do, I'm just dropping a paper. I tell you, I have a ton of notes. We're going through all of it. So I'm taking it piece by piece and dropping it on the floor. So well, you got to live with it. That's what it is. This is how I do my research. This is how I remember it all. So now if we go about this at another time, I can get into dreams and I could almost photographically recite all the information. But so Islam. Dreams play an important role in the history of Islam, okay, and the lives of the Muslim people. Since dream interpretations is the only way that Muslims receive revelation from God. But here's the kicker with the Muslim faith, okay? Since the death of the last prophet Muhammad, those prophetic dreams don't happen anymore. It's neither here nor there. Muhammad was the last one. He everything ends with Muhammad in the Muslim faith. So that's what they think, that no matter what your dreams are now, they're not prophecy. They never will be. You are not a prophet. You're not a prophet of God. Or if you are a prophet in the Muslim faith, they haven't recognized you yet. I don't know it. I can't pretend to speak about that because I don't know that faith as well as some do. But this is what they're saying in their own teachings. So, I mean, if you're not Muhammad, it's over for you. Like, it's a wrap. You're not a prophet. But I see we have a lot of people in the GERN network over here in the chat. I just want to say thank you guys for supporting me over here in this show. It's becoming a wild ride. We're gonna really take things full steam ahead in a little while because we're gonna start going into my thoughts on all of it. This is just fact right now. This isn't what I'm thinking or what's going on through my head, you know. So we'll get there. Don't worry, we'll get there. I'm always a very opinionated person. So now we're gonna get into Hinduism. Okay, there's gonna be a couple words here that I'm gonna pronounce. I may pronounce them right. I might not. I just want to let you know that I'm trying. So in the Manduki Upanistad, part of the Veda scriptures of Indian Hinduism, a dream is one of three states that the soul experiences during its lifetime. The other states being the wake state and the sleep state. So as they see their religion in Hinduism, there's the awake state, the state where you just sleep, which would be a lesser dream, or I guess a place where you could dream lesser things. But then there is the dream state. And the dream state to them is where you connect, like I said before, with everything. You connect with all of the different animals, all of the different trees, the clouds. You connect with Earth on a different level. This is also where you're going to get your different type of guides that are going to guide you on your meditation. Hinduism has a lot of meditation. They're very spiritual. They talk about chakras. And if your pineal gland isn't open, you got no chance. You got no chance. You might as well pack it up and go home, because if your pineal gland is not open, you're not doing it. And the thought to go on it is there's a stuff called nascent iodine. For a lot of the stuff that we eat today, okay, this is going off a little bit, but a lot of the stuff that we eat today calcifies your pineal gland. Nascent iodine are rare earth crystals, okay? Rare earth crystals that they find in the hills of the Himalayas. The hills of the Himalayas. And what these crystals do once they're into grounded up and made into a concentration is they actually decalcify your pineal gland. Now, some say that the pineal gland is like the highway to the soul. It's how you charge your soul. It'll give you innate abilities that you didn't have before. So anybody out there listening to this, do yourself a favor, look into the ways to decalcify your pineal gland, because a lot of the things that we eat today have fluoride in them. Fluoride will calcify your pineal gland, which will make it harder for you to meditate, harder for you to reach your higher self, and it'll also be harder for you to concentrate. It has a cognitive ability on the brain. So there's more to this than just a calcification, but you don't want that, It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. You want to make sure that you're not calcified because you want to reach those heightened levels of enlightenment, So now we're going to get into the philosophical realms, okay? This is more with indigenous American Indian tribes and some Mexican tribes as well. See how we went everywhere? We went from the middle all the way to the Far East, all the way to Europe. Now we're coming all the way back west to the United States and Western civilization, and we're going up in time as well. This is just showing you that this has been talked about in every civilization throughout recorded history. Dreams, there is no way for somebody to sit there and tell me, I know what that is, because, my man, you don't. You have an idea, you have an opinion. And that's the thing about dreams, is they're all opinion. None of it's fact. There's none of it fact. But they're doing a lot of crazy stuff now with science and things like that. So let me take a sip of my coffee to wet the palate again, and we're going to keep going. All right. So, here we go with this now. In some indigenous American tribes and Mexican civilizations believe that dreams are a way of visiting and having contact with their ancestors. Besides African tribes, which were a little bit more based like this, we didn't do any of those because their written history is a little bit here and there. But as you see this, there is a plane for these people that they can go to this spiritual plane and contact their ancestors. Much like mediums today, they're able to see spirits. Now, they used to enhance these dreams in all different ways. They had versions of DMT. They also had peyote, which enhanced their ability to fathom these realms and almost basically hallucinate, which is wild. They hallucinated. Some of it was hallucination that they felt like they were getting to this extra level. So some Native American tribes use vision quests as a rite of passage, fasting and praying until an anticipated guide dream was received and shared with the rest of the tribe. So not only did they use that as you were a boy before you went on this pilgrimage to have a specific dream to come back and be a man. And when you came back, you shared that with the people. So not only was everybody prophetic in that sense of the word, this is what they use to gauge your basically your class level in society, which is taking it to a whole new level, I'm telling you. Now, depending on what you saw, you would find your spirit guide. He would take you to a place where you would have a dream. You'd go back and tell the people. Now, this is what I mean by prophetic, is the fact of the matter is you can come back and say, well, now they want me to be king. What are you going to do about it? That's what they said. That's what I'm telling you. It's what they said. It is. It is what it is. You can't say no. It's the ancestors. So there's a lot. There's a lot of leeway in this one. But it's pretty crazy because a lot of the spiritual connotation that we hear today with people who are very spiritual, it goes by ancient American Indian tribes or Mexican indigenous people tribes, is what they use as their points of prayer, or the way that they contact their spiritual energies or spiritual guides that take them places and to do things. So I mean, it's wild. This is a wild thing. This is a wild thing because I mean, did they have it right? They were a little bit different than everybody else. So now we question is who's right and all that. We don't know because, like I said before, it's all opinion. There's nothing but opinions here, and now you probably got 1,000 questions. Nobody knows what to think, But this is what they are. Now we're gonna go into types of dreams. These are the dreams that you could possibly have, whether it's then or now. You know, this is a description of specific types of dreams. So this is where things get a little bit different because what we're looking at here is all right. Well, I'm going to do it this way. I want everybody to take a moment. Okay, take a moment. Think about think about your dreams. Okay, think about the types of dreams that you've had over your lifetime. I'm going to give you a minute. I'm not going to say a word. I want you to really deeply think about it. Okay? And I'm also going to take a hit of this tobacco here, but that's fine. But just think about it. All right, you got. Hopefully, everybody has thought about a dream or two. Just one you've had recently. Okay? Because we're going to try and classify those dreams now. I'm going to tell you what these dreams are so you can classify what kind of dream it is. Or, while I'm reading these, try and think of a dream that you